Good morning. We'll just give everyone just another minute to jump on. Okay, well, we'll kick off. Good morning and welcome, everyone. This is the first of a number of masterclasses that we'll be running over the coming months. Some will be presented through your licensee as well, because we're partnering with a number of licensees. But basically, in today's consumer landscape, understanding your clients has been never more crucial. So we're introducing a new field that fuses psychology, economics, and AI technology to deliver advisors a new dimension about their clients. And that is your client's neurofinance. So to bring everything into context before I hand over to Catherine and she begins her session, I am going to provide a high-level overview of the behavioural elements that we cover and are important to know about your clients. So Catherine will delve into the why they are important and how to bring them into your advice conversation and communications. But through this session, we'll explore how behavioural data and generative AI can really revolutionize your client relationships and interactions. So today we had the announcement of GPT-5. So we're very excited in launching our own closed version of GPT-5, our own AI agent that will help you as advisors to build meeting agendas and communicate based on your client's neurofinance. We are the only technology of its kind where we really bring all of these elements together. So this webinar is really designed to equip you with practical strategies and actionable insights. And a glimpse of what we'll be covering is being able to decode behavioural preferences, so learning effective techniques to identify and adapt your communications to match your client's individual behavioural traits. Systemized, personalized interactions, so your client communications. For example, clients who's highly impulsive will react to market volatility, ensuring that you can timely communicate to that client with empathy, and construct those types of communications. And mastering the art of communicating your fees in a way that aligns to your client's neurofinance, so building confidence and reinforcing the value you provide. So to bring it all into context, I'm just going to show you just a couple of things that we cover off, because we are a unique technology. We extrapolate behavioural insights, and we are really a behavioural operating platform for advice businesses, where we essentially will cover off a client's behaviour profile. We'll get an understanding of their learning style, what their financial preparedness, so their level of understanding, experience and confidence, so you can meet them at their level. Their personal priorities, what are the success indicators that they're seeking to achieve? And then we get into the really interesting stuff, which is their neurofinance. It's how they make financial decisions, their decision-making framework. And that basically comprises of a number of elements, which consist of, is their mindset big picture or detailed? Do they have a fixed or a growth mindset? Do they come from a place of lack when it comes to money and finances, which tends to come from our subconscious programming? Are they going to deliberate or take action when it comes to, making a decision around financial advice or even investment strategies? Are they going to deliberate, or are they really going to take action? Their subconscious programming around limiting beliefs around their finances. Are they going to be open to new ideas if you introduce new strategies or concepts, or are they going to be quite resistant to those sorts of strategies that you introduce? Their level of self-control, which is a very important one, which Catherine will get into. Are they going to be impulsive when markets are volatile? Their level of optimism, which relates to fee sensitivity as well. So all of these elements make up the client's decision-making framework. Then we have obviously our risk profiling, which we base off the 4 pillars of risk, which are the overall risk profile. We do psychological tolerance for risk, risk capacity, and their comfort levels around risk. Then we have personas. In our system, we've developed 20 different personas based on decades of neurofinance data. And we put those together into different cohorts. So you automatically, when a client does a profile, they'll go into one of these persona cohorts. So these help you to identify various personality traits of different clients and group them across your entire client base. So there's really interesting insights that you get from these personas that help you to build a relationship and identify key characteristics. Then we have our lead generation tool that we've had huge success from the advisors that are using this. We use the profiler as a way of bringing clients into your advice journey. So any new clients can be brought in and engaged to discover their own money mind so that they can self-reflect. So these, the tool can be embedded into QR codes, social media, marketing campaigns. So that's the lead generation tool. Then we have our AI agent, which is the being able to tailor your own meeting agendas automatically using generative AI from the insights that you get from the profile. Also being able to send on-point communications as well. And then the last one is our digital advice. So we can embed different sections of the profiler into your digital advice journey. So that just brings everything into context in terms of the information that we uncover and the tools that are available. And now I will hand over to Catherine as we get into the session. And I'll stop sharing my screen. Over to you, Catherine.
Thank you for that fantastic context. Great way to start our session. And I was just having a look in the list of people who are here today, and there's a lot of familiar names. So don't be afraid to say hi to Jackie and I if you've met us before in the chat. And as you may remember from any of my sessions, I'm very keen to have lots of engagement in the chat. So keep going there, and I'm going to figure out a way so that I can see the chat at the same time as that we talk as well. So we've got about half an hour really to get into the nuts and bolts of this before Jackie wraps us up. And I was thinking about this in the surf this morning. The water was a bit murkier than this morning. We've got a bit of swell up here on the Gold Coast, and there was quite a crowd around, and I was thinking, now how am I going to actually even get a wave in this crowd? It was a bit kind of cross shore, so it wasn't as bad as the crowd as the last few days. But I was sitting there and I was kind of psychoanalyzing everyone around me. I was like, okay, they're the pros. Be far away from them. Rule number one. Okay, there's a couple of people who think they're good, but they seem to be falling off every time they take off. I can probably go down the line, just maybe like 10 meters down the line, so they can take off, fall off, and then I can get it. So the reality is, in everything that we do, we want to make sure that we're adapting for everyone around us, and that's especially for our clients. And you get to see a nice little picture of Byron there as well, which is always pleasant. So we're going to break this down in 4 ways. We're going to look at our meeting agendas, and we'll talk a little bit about how AI can come into play with that as well. And we'll unpack tailored communication for our clients' preferences. We'll look at those personalized interactions, and especially email communication, for example, when there's market volatility. And my favorite of all the topics, which is fees. So a bit of context, remember, this is the story here is we need to set our mindset right first to begin with. So our mindset is really powerful if we can set it to understand that, yes, the investments that we recommend and any financial products that we recommend are the only way that a client's going to get to their goals. So they're super important. But when we are not in the room and our client says to their friend at a barbecue, oh, I've got a financial planner. I've got a financial planner. She's called Natalia. And they're not going to say, she got me a 12% investment return or 1% above the market or whatever. They're going to say, and every time I get an email from her, it feels like she wrote it and it's to me, like to me, not even to other clients. So she's just really on point. Or it might be something like the way that you greet them, always with a smile. Every time I see her, always with a smile. Whatever it is, they're not going to be talking about you to their friends in terms of the technical stuff that you spent so long studying at university, which is a bit frustrating. But that's the way of the world, and it's the same for every professional. So just making sure that we have our mindset aligned to how we actually add value to our clients' lives and how they actually remember us, how they talk about us when we're not there. It's all around this behavioral stuff. It's all around the psychology and the personalization that Jackie was just mentioning before. So once we get our right mindset, then we can attract the right clients. We can have really powerful initial meetings. We can have, of course, streamlined onboarding. We'll touch on that as we go through. Tailored communication through the relationship and just increasing the value that we bring to our clients. And I almost use value and fees interchangeably because they are the same thing. There's no such thing as a high fee. There's only such thing as low value. So we'll touch on that. And just from a nuts and bolts perspective, one of the ways that Money Mind Profile enables us to have this sequential communications with clients is we can turn the different components of the survey on and off. So that's just a screenshot of that. So first off, in terms of the detailed stuff, let's look at those meeting agendas. So what we want to do with every initial meeting is to make sure we can hit the ground running. Now, I was talking to Dacian, who's here with us today, a little while ago, and he said it takes him, he has, by the way, more experience as a financial advisor. Well, probably as much experience as a financial advisor as I have years surfing. So he knows his stuff. And he said, I think it takes him still about 20 minutes to get a real gauge on who is this individual in front of me. Now, for some of us who don't have as much experience, that can take quite a few meetings until we finally realize, oh, that's who you are. Got it. So we want to make sure that we hit the ground running, and our language in those initial meetings is one of the things that determines that. So for example, if we have a client who does the Money Mind Profile before the initial meeting or part of it, and we know that they're afraid, they're operating out of fear, they have low optimism towards the future, we're not going to spend that meeting talking about their great goals and how we're going to help them for their goals for the future. We're going to instead say things like, look, we're just here to make sure you never need to sleep under the bridge, because that's the kind of language that client needs in the initial meeting. So straight from the get-go, we've never even met these clients and we already know who they are. So even experienced advisors can get some help with that. Now, I'm just going to see if I can pop over to the chat. I wonder if I can. That would be pretty cool. Oh, yeah. Hi, guys. Oh, I can even have it maybe even on the screen. Oh, awesome. All right. I think I'm sorted now. Lots of you saying hi, so thanks for that. That's great. Great that you found the chat. And for the rest of you who haven't found the chat yet, please find it, because we're going to need you to pop some ideas in there as well so that everyone can learn your perspectives. So we do have a perfect initial meeting structure. It goes a little bit like this. There's 4 questions, and the last one, the 5th, is tailored for the client's needs. So the initial meeting, from our perspective, starts off with, what is it that prompted you to meet today, or a version of that, so long as it's not starting with why. That's forbidden in questions. Weird, I know, but it's true. I'll talk to you about that offline if you have any questions about that. Next, what's your experience with financial planners? And then, assuming they say, oh, I met one once, then assumption is it didn't go well. So we can lead with that. What is it that didn't go so well in the past? Then we can ask, what do you think someone like me can do to help someone like you? And then they'll tell us exactly, in theory, exactly what they're really looking for. And you never know, it might be investment returns, but likely there'll be a few other things fluffed around it. And those are the things that you need to make sure you're communicating on. So then it comes to communicating about fees. I am a big advocate of communicating fees as early as possible. And we'll unpack that a little bit. So you might say something like, you're probably wondering about fees. In my professional opinion, the impact of our expertise on your situation will have a significant be significant over the long term and far outweigh our fees. Bear in mind, this is for a high optimism client who has low fee sensitivity. You would not say any of these words for a moderate or low optimism client. Bear that in mind. None of this would happen for them. So having said that, some of our clients pay $26,000 per year, but it looks like your advice will come in at maybe $7,700 plus maybe plus $450 per month. And that's because your situation is much simpler than others. There has to be a reason why their fee is less. You're not just being kind, you're a professional. We don't do that. We don't do kindness. No, we don't give discounts for no reason, for no real tangible reason. So, and then we flow really nicely onto our next steps to make sure we get all the paperwork from you. So this is what we're going to do to get that. Now, Jackie's going to hop on and share with us some of the AI perspectives.
Absolutely. So I'll just share my screen now very quickly.
And how cool, Sean, you've got Chopes on the other screen. Who's surfing at the moment? Chopes is a surf spot, Jackie.
I know.
One that I've never surfed.
I was married to a surfer for many years. Anyway, I am just going to run through just some of the, we've got a ChatGPT function that is coming into the platform in the next month or so. We've been playing around and testing with the new ChatGPT 5. So these are some of the insights that help you to develop your meeting agenda. So this is able to take all of those behavioral characteristics that are captured in MoneyMind and then pull them into a sequential meeting agenda. So obviously we have goals. So if we are talking to someone who is focused on goals, we can pull out a summary of those. We can talk about their financial understanding and experience. So if they're, high, experience, literally an understanding, well, we know how to, that this client is that, so we know how to meet them at their level. Their confidence and their capability around their finances, their personal priorities. So do they want to leave a legacy? What are their success indicators? ESGs. So it's pulling out all of these key insights. So you have a summary right before you meet with a client. It could be a first client, it could be a review meeting. It can be applied in both scenarios. But it will just extrapolate, what are these key insights that I need to focus on of how I'm going to, communicate value, talk to the client in a language that they're going to understand. So it really summarizes some of the information that is pulled out of the profile. So that's the way in which we've got generative AI coming in the next month. So that's super exciting. So I'm going to stop sharing and hand back to Catherine.
Awesome. Yeah, AI, it's the future. It's absolutely the future. So the more that we can use it in our businesses to have efficiency, build trust faster, the better off we're going to be. Now, next up, let's talk about some of the tailoring that we can do based on our clients' perspectives. So from a structural perspective of MoneyMind profile, we could send the whole survey, for example, and then we would get all the information, and that's could be good, but we might not need everything straight away. So we might want to send, just say, decision-making framework, maybe even risk attitude before we meet a client for the initial meeting, so we can build trust with them, but at the same time have a reason to reach out after a few days after the initial meeting for the next phase of our relationship and therefore of the survey. And we also have goal setting in there. It's more designed for the financial advisor to use because it's, as you know, many clients walk in with goals. What are our goals? Haven't ever thought about it. And a lot of your role is helping the client to figure out what they want from their lives. So there's that as well. And part of that, in terms of tailoring the communication and figuring out if the client's right for us, is in the qualification process, just knowing before the first meeting if they're psychos or not. Some of us, I think, have taken on clients before and we've thought, if I'd have known how much of a headache they would have been, then I wouldn't have taken them on. Now, having said that, each of us has a unique kind of ideal client who we work well with. Sure, they must have enough assets to warrant financial advice to some extent. But some of us want to work with clients who are really high attention to detail, for example, and some of us want to work with the big picture clients. So getting that match right is what's important in that definition of who's good for us and who's not. So some of the things that we measure, and we're going to have quite a few of these on screen soon, are we look at openness to new ideas, which naturally this particular client in this report, and I haven't expanded it. If you click on the plus, it'll expand and you get the full thing. But if you have a client who's high open to new ideas, that means that you can actually be a financial advisor like you are and make recommendations and implement those recommendations. Awesome, easy, just your normal job. But if you have a client who's low or medium in openness to new ideas, then you want to make sure that right from the get-go, you're communicating to your client that, first off, what we follow here is tried and tested methods. We first review everything and we monitor before we start to roll out. And even though we will put together maybe a 5 or a 10-year implementation plan for us, we're going to roll everything out one piece at a time. Every 6 months, we might implement another component just to make sure everything's fine and there's nothing too new too quickly, because we don't need to rush into these things. So that's that client who's going to feel really safe if you are able to stagger and slow down the new changes. And if you think, oh, all we're doing is resetting their asset allocation so it reflects their risk profile, yeah, that's massive for someone who's low openness to new ideas. So everything you recommend is a change and needs to be managed really tightly, especially for a low openness client. So if we look at self-control, but this is one of the really interesting ones that I love to delve into in detail, because I bet every single one of you has had a client who you didn't realize was low self-control, and you recommended the advice, they took the advice, said, yep, it's amazing. And then when you went back to them after maybe 3 months to do maybe a super contribution or something, they'll say to you, oh no, that money, in the offset account, yeah, we spent that. We bought a new car with that. It was on sale. Great new car. We're really happy. And you're thinking, no, no, that money was to contribute to super on July 1st and you spent it. Right. So these clients need a lot of management. And the cool thing about low self-control clients or impulsive clients is that they also know that they have impulsivity issues and they want help with it, which means that you can give some really good structural advice. And optimism, similarly, it's quite a bad, it's funny because if you're high optimism, and from the list of names who are here today, I think most of us are pretty high optimism people, and we think that that's good, but it probably means we save less, we'll retire earlier, we'll work less, we'll get divorced, but then we'll remarry because this one's the one. So we're kind of problematic clients in terms of optimism. The good thing though is, for those, if you're like me and you're high optimism, you're also low fee sensitivity, which means you want to know about the value you're getting from Money Mind Profile, not the cost, not the fact that it's $100 a month, which is basically free compared to the value you're getting. If you're like me, if you're more on the pessimistic side, then you're quite concerned about fees and making sure that the fees are certain. You're not sure about growth. So we want to know and dwell in the fees. So if we have a pessimistic client, for example, we just want to make sure that we mention the fees maybe 3 minutes within the first initial meeting. Really dwell on it. And we'll touch base on that in the fee section as well of today. So in terms of motivation, we need to know if someone's towards reward or avoiding pain. That's the sleep under the bridge phrase, for example. That doesn't sing to me because I'm towards reward, but it sings to someone who wants to avoid pain. And present bias, whether they're a today or a down the track kind of person, live for today. And similarly for loss aversion. Some of us are really loss averse and some of us are less loss averse, which makes the world a beautiful, rich diaspora. So let's have a look about personalizing those client interactions. And just a bit of context, when I look at and talk about personalizing these interactions, I don't mean that you're doing it. I don't mean that you're logging in and then personalizing things. I mean that this is actually happening in the background. So there's systems for this. There's systems for personalized client communications leading up to the initial meeting, through the implementation phase, and through being a client. And that's all just systemized. So it's not about you having to go back to the MoneyMind profile report of each client and, oh, this is the avoid pain client, so I need to phrase it like this. Like, it's not about that. This must be done in a way that's systemized. So lots of our users of MoneyMind use coaches like me or other coaches to make sure that actually happens in a way that's really streamlined, or that you sit and think deeply about it and then implement it in your practices. But you need to make it so that you have less work to do, not more. That's the key of that. So a bit of a context with this that's nice to think about, even though we hope it doesn't happen too soon, is a market crash kind of context. Many of us in the room before have, in a market crash, sent out, say, an email newsletter to everyone, or an email saying, hey, just about the market crash, this is my opinion and whatever, stay the course or something, come in and have a chat. And we often send the same letter to everyone, and that's what we don't want to be doing. So with MoneyMind Profile, it becomes really easy because we have this filter system. So we can filter and say, based on my thoughts, I think actually it's the impulsive clients who we're going to have to reach out to first, and we're going to have to give them specific wording. And then we'll give the other clients different wording. Or it might be on other frameworks as well. So the impulsivity is a big one if we want to make sure that our clients aren't jumping into decisions. But the key is just that you don't talk the same to impulsive clients as you do to disciplined clients. Like, it's as simple as that. So now let's have a look, pop some ideas in the chat. The market's just crashed. Which personality traits would you actually filter on? I just used the self-control example, but we have some others that I'll fly through on the screen as well. So we have a choice. You can pick one personality trait where you'll say, I'm going to talk to this, I'm going to separate this personality trait into 1, 2, or 3 groups, maybe 5 if you choose risk profile, and communicate based along those lines. So 1 email to the high risk profile clients, for example, 1 to the low and 1 to the middle, or even into 5 if you feel so inclined, or across other psychological demographics. So let's have a look at these. Could be across financial understanding. Send 1 letter out to the high financial understanding and 1 out to the low. Could be across financial experience, financial confidence, financial capability, so the actual decisions they're making, whether they're the decision maker or not. We know this about all our clients, and we can filter all based on all of these. So which ones are we sending our letter out to, do you think? Or is it based on success indicators? So whether they want peace of mind or investment returns. If there's a market crash, we want to be making sure that the investment return clients, the ones who want investment returns from you, are getting language that says, hey, let me talk to you about the investment returns. And the peace of mind clients need to be communicated similarly, right? But what about life versus legacy? ESG, probably not going to get many hits for this. Expected rate of return might get some hits for this question. Big picture or detailed, again, pretty important. Whether we send a long letter with lots of words or a short video, high level. The mindset, fixed or growth, scarcity or abundant, whether they deliberate or take action. They're just some more of the decision-making ones, whether they're open, impulsive, optimistic, towards reward, present bias, or loss aversion as well. So what do you think? Let's have a look at the chat and see now that I've shown you, what do you guys think is most important for this one? Delta says pessimistic. Natalia says pessimistic. Graham says optimistic. Yeah. John says, will the software automatically catalog these traits? Yes. Yeah, it does. It catalogs them and you can search based on them. So you can say, hey, I want to find all of my clients who are disciplined, for example. James says, could we also look at positioning for different fee models? Oh, yeah. I'm thinking this is based off fixed fee or flat dollar fees. But if we look at a percent-based fees too, or hybrid models. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. We can definitely unpack that. About half of our users use percent-based fees and half are flat fees, so, or fixed fee. A lot there on the optimism, which is interesting. Oh, is that what that message was, Josh? That's great. Super cute messages from your daughter. Josephine, oh, look at you, very advanced, risk adverse and pessimistic. Get out to them first. Yep, absolutely, absolutely. James says loss aversion. Yeah, interesting. Interesting. It's so curious, isn't it? How we have some different ideas across the different professionals. Like, which ones do we want to just segregate into high-low and just reach out to them with in their language, like straight away? It could be in videos, like a Loom video, could be a newsletter, whatever that is. Dacian, the sage of the ages, says it's don't panic. This is the Mike Tyson event we've been waiting for. Buy cheap assets and live happily ever after. And what do you think, Dacian, about separating your communication based on who the client's traits are, what the traits are? Ilya says, do the bars in each band result in a specific score? X out of 5. Yes, absolutely. So this one, the self-control one, for example, is in that one, 1 out of 5. And if you click on the plus, I can't with this because it's a screenshot, just above the word disciplined, it expands out into a big explanation. I'll show you a screenshot of optimism anyway in the fee section. Natalia said, can I please show how? Show how what? Would you mind elaborating on that? And then we'll be able to, Jackie might be able to do it at the end as well. And John says the warriors who come from several personality criteria. Absolutely, absolutely. Dacian said, I wouldn't separate that message. Nice, you've got one message for everyone. They can receive it all the same. How to segment them. Okay, I'll go back. So let me just show you this. Here we are. So this is my Money Mind profile, my dashboard. And so if we click on client details on the left-hand side over here, and then we click on filter on the right-hand side. So right now it says filter off because I haven't clicked apply yet. And then we apply it to all the profiles that we've received. And we just choose from those drop-down boxes. Sorry, this is a screenshot, so I can't see the ones, but you'll be able to see it on your dashboard. And you select, and you can see, do I want the optimism clients who are high-low? Do I want the risk profile clients who are growth, only the growth, for example, versus high growth? You can apply it however you like and find the clients who fit in the certain kind of personas that relate to your business. So it could be that you're like Dacian and you're like, all my clients are the same, or at least they should receive the same language, in which case you'll still know the psychological profile of all of those clients by filtering them here and getting a feel for who your clients are, because that can also then drive some of your communications to your clients. So if you realize, holy moly, 80% of our clients are impulsive, it's pretty unlikely because successful people tend to have less impulsivity, but you never know. Then you know that you've got a whole new range of material to develop for your clients on how to save, how to make sure that you live a good life and don't chip away into your savings and randomly look at your bank account and see it's all gone. All those kind of resources to help the kind of traits of your group of clients. And it's just a way to connect much more deeply with your clients and go over and above the assumption that you are giving them good advice. So, okay, next activity, pop an idea in the chat. Imagine you do that filtering that I just showed you, and you find that 28%, which is quite a lot, like a massive lot for this category, they have low risk tolerance, so they're scaredy cats, but high risk capacity. So they've got high human capital and high financial capital. They're fine. They've got high impulsivity, so they're spending a lot on cars and Bentleys and chocolates, but they're also low optimism. What kind of words would you actually send out, just as a thought exercise, to this particular group at a market crash? You can pop your ideas in the chat and we'll see what you guys think. Oh, Glenn, great question about, while everyone's putting it in, about how we're using it for lead generation. Yeah, our clients use MoneyMind profile either on their website, so click to complete your MoneyMind profile, and so you just design a little like button, click here and some words around it, and then their profile goes straight into your portal. You know where they came from because you put a tag, they came from the website. Or similarly, if you've got it on Facebook groups or any ad campaigns you're running, it similarly gets tagged and you know where the clients are coming in from. And we have a lot of things on that. I don't know what the next masterclass is going to be. Jackie would know, but hopefully it'll be on something like just using MoneyMind profile for lead generation because it's so powerful. So I'd love to just talk about that, but this is, yeah. Also, Glenn, feel free to reach out and we can have a chat offline about that one-on-one as well. So Sean says, turn off the news. That's a good thing to tell people. Delta, high achieving. So what did you get in my classes, Delta? Was it high distinctions in every class, I think, from memory? So I expect you to have good ideas. We have an opportunity now with the market flattening to invest more. Interesting. Flight to safety. James says, reconfirm long-term objectives and goals and timeframes, and reconfirm what's normal. Josephine says, always provide reassurance and connection. Oh, love it. Nice work, guys. Very good. I shouldn't be surprised. If you're the kind of person who opts in to join this session, then you should have pretty good ideas. Now, here's a little activity I just love to include as a bit of a shock value. You've got to put a number in the chat. One number. From appointment made, however it gets made, whether it's on Calendly or phone call, whatever, to advice implemented, okay? How many days go in between each client communication? And those client communications could be SMS, could be phone call, they could be email, they could be letter, they could be telepathy. How many days go in between? That's some nice words, Joseph. You have loads of capacity to deal with situations like these. Your portfolio has been designed with this in mind. Nice. Very good. Kate says, stay the course. Yeah, nice. So we've got 3. Richard, you're a high performer, aren't you? Sarah says 1 to 2, every 1 to 2 days. Sarah, that is incredible. Keep doing that, please. Delta says 2. Grant says 7 to 10. We need to change that, Grant, I think, but the chat keeps like moving as I scroll down. We've got some 5s in there. Weekly from Thebojan, I think is your correct pronunciation of your beautiful name. Apologies if I've mutilated it. 7-ish, 5. Stephen's like, just guess. Weekly. All right. So here's what we actually know is it needs to be every 3 days. And the reality is you're like, but what do we reach out about? Well, reach out about something that's relevant in different forms. So maybe an email one day, an SMS one day. It could be before the meeting is super easy because then it's all about leading up to. So finding a car park at your office or just a reminder about our meeting coming up, the kind of things to bring with you or the types of questions that get asked, a little video overview of you and how you got into your profession, for example. But reasons to reach out every 3 days to your client. Now, last off, is the sexiest and the fun bit. I love always talking about fees. So I mentioned before, if you push that plus button over on the right-hand side of your client reports, you end up with, whoa, heaps of words like this. So this, for example, we can see is what optimism looks like in the report, and as well as our clients retiring earlier, working less, and saving less, remarrying, starting their own businesses. I know there's a lot of business owners here with us today, so you're probably high optimism. But you also can see under communication insight, it reminds you that they've got low fee sensitivity. So they're all about the value focused. Now, when we're communicating fees broadly, we need, it's very windy here. More broadly, when we're communicating fees, we need to use psychological anchoring. So we would say, while some of my clients pay $26,000 for financial advice per year, or whatever the number is that's the highest advice fee that you charge or could charge, your fees are more likely to be $8,000 up front plus $445 a month from there on. That's how we communicate fees in a way that's correct. Now, a few questions. I know we don't have unlimited time. Should you put your fees on your website? Yes, but only if you can do it in a way that uses psychological anchoring I just did. When should my clients learn what their fee is, and when should you calculate it? That should be in that 15-minute discovery call that you're doing, or it's not even called, I don't mind what you call it, but the first little phone call where they talk to someone from your team, and it's not booking a meeting. They should be a phone call where we're first off figuring out who they are and that particular range. Who should tell the client the fees? I prefer it if the team tell the client the fees and they come to the meeting knowing what the fees are likely to be. How can I quickly calculate the fees? That's the most difficult thing, because a lot of us think, but it's actually really complex. Is there an SMSF? Is there 5 generations? I can't possibly do it without 6 weeks of work. So we can talk about that offline, how to quickly calculate the client's fees so that you can, in that initial phone call, know what their fee is likely to be for the first year, knowing that sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong, but we want to be getting that communication out there. And we want to use Money Mind Profile to increase your value, which means increasing your fees. Whenever we do a fee increase, we want to make sure we're just increasing the value. And the way that we can do that is using Money Mind Profile by adding that human element to conversations, by having intergenerational introductions. Super awkward to try and ask, hey, your kids who are still paying off the mortgage and your grandkids who are at uni, they don't need advice, but bring them in anyway because wealth. Easy if it's, hey, you've done your Money Mind Profile. I wonder if your family's traits are similar. Why don't we have a conversation as a family around our personality traits and our behavior? Easy to do, huh? And then coaching those generations across alignment. So last question, what's one key thing you've taken away from this session today? You can pop it in the chat. I hope it's something about how we should all want to surf at Chopes, although I don't know if I even want to surf at Chopes. It's every time I see the footage, I'm like, no, it's not even a wave that goes up and breaks. It's like the whole ocean just folds. Delta says, talk fees earlier. Josephine, yes, I'd love to add value, just mindful of time. So if you can send me a message offline, then we can talk about that. Work harder on communication. Josh's keyboard, yeah, it's been pretty good. Hey, psychological anchoring, yeah, tailored communication. Nice work, guys. Very good takeaways. So just like in the surf this morning, we need to pay attention to everyone who's around us, especially our clients, and make sure we're adapting for everyone. Now, these are your next steps. So sign up right now. You've got a 10% discount code because Jackie is a very kind CEO. She's extending that to you guys. The code is webinar0825. And then once you've signed up, then you get a one-on-one coaching call with me, setting up your Money Mind Profile for what your business is doing for growth. So that's the QR code for that, and you can take a screenshot of that now. And Jackie's going to hop on and wrap up for us.
Excellent. So we're going to be running some more sessions where we'll dig deeper into some of the topics that everyone's mentioned, because we wanted to get everyone's feedback on, what's on point, what's important and relevant for you guys in your business. And, we're really creating a community around this so that we can support advisors to have those deeper, empathetic conversations with clients and give you supporting tools to help you do that. So we've got some of your feedback, so I'm going to compile that, and I've got everyone's details. So what we'll do is a follow-up session with we'll follow-up email with some sessions that you can book into. Obviously, just jump online, put in the discount code for signing up, and then, get your session with Dr. Catherine, because she's very much in demand. So take advantage of that, and we'll send a follow-up email with all of that information in it. And thank you everyone for attending. It was a great session and great to have you all engaged in the conversation. So thanks again, everyone, and we'll be sending everything through. And yes, we will have a recording of this meeting, and I'll include that in the email communication, because I've had a lot of people reach out to me during the session saying that they couldn't make it, and we'll be sending that recording out.
Nice. And Jackie, there's quite a few questions that have come through in the chat. Do you think we can have just an unofficial Q&A now, or can we download those questions and reach out to everyone and have some offline conversations? What's the
we can
best
do
way?
either. So, yeah, however you want to run it. If anyone wants to stay online and chat, we can do that and open it up. So happy to do that. So, but I'm compiling everything as we go anyway.
Nice one. So, because we have a cool question here. So if anyone needs to leave, it's been awesome to have you. Thank you for your engagement, as always. Very appreciated. And if you want to stay, I'll go through some of these questions and talk them through. So, so we can just make sure that they're hit now, and then we can have follow-up conversations as well. So Ilya says, I presume the client profiles are created when and if a new client completes. Yeah, new client could be, but lots of our current users are using it with existing clients just to level up their conversations. And they say, because you've been our client for 5 years, you're now eligible to complete your MoneyMind profile, and we're going to have a special MoneyMind profile conversation with you next time it's booked. So it's also really good for existing clients.
Yeah, the other thing is we've got some of our users that have said to me that, look, we've had this client for 5-10 years and I've run out of things to talk about. So
exactly.
We just love that we've got more things to talk about. So it's made it more engaging to re-engage those existing clients that have been on board for a while as well. But in terms of the review meeting, this is able to generate like a meeting agenda. So when we launch our AI agent, you'll be able to generate like a meeting agenda based on a review. So you'll be able to do both new client meetings, but also for review meetings.
Yep. And Ilya's also asking if there's a functionality for importing clients from Xplan and categorizing them manually. So you can import
Yes.
a list of clients. Jackie, do you want to talk to that one?
Yeah, I'll explain that. So we have an integration with IntelliFlow that is available. With Xplan, we've been approached to do an integration with Xplan, so that's on the product roadmap. In terms of importing, you can import your whole database. It's very easy to do. It takes like 5 minutes but we can run a session on how to import and export data into the system. We also have, so when importing, you can also then, as a file note, create the report so that it goes back into Xplan. So we can pull your client data in, and then if you need to create a profile as a file note, you can download the report, save it as a PDF into the client record as a file note, or a document in your client record inside of Xplan. No, we don't currently have Zoho CRM integration. We don't have that at the moment, but we are soon to launch our open APIs. So that will be a connector that you'll be able to do. So that's probably a couple of months away, the open APIs, but yeah, we'll let you know as soon as that's available. But for the interim, you can just import via CSV or Excel into the system. And that's a really simple process and easy to do.
Another really cool question was from Stephen Farrell, who asked, how are we protecting privacy when using AI with client info? Because Stephen, as you would know, as financial advisors, you're not able to upload into ChatGPT open version your client's private information. That's an automatic reportable breach of the Privacy Act to do that. So a lot of advisors don't realize that, but it is. I'm sure they're going to change it at some point once OpenAI, etc., fix their data issues, but for the moment, that's what it is. So we have obviously figured out that a long time ago. And Jackie, would you like to mention about our closed system?
Yes, so we're using a closed version inside of our own tech stack. So everything sits in AWS in the cloud. We're using the OpenAI technology in a closed environment, proprietary inside of our application. The only data is inside of our application and inside of your own instance as well. So obviously you have your own instance with your own clients, which is all protected. And basically the chat functionality inside, well, not chat, but the generative AI technology that sits inside of our platform is closed. So yes, we are completely compliant and within those frameworks. So
yeah, because you have to be. It's the most important thing when it comes to AI. It's not even an efficiency story anymore. It's a privacy story. Natalia, yes, you are everyone, well, not everyone, but current users and you guys in the session can have that one-on-one with me. So same link for you to book us in. And also if there's anyone else here who's a current user and hasn't had a one-on-one with me to set up MoneyMind profile for your business and your growth goals, then that QR code and that website that's on the screen will get you booked in for that. But be quick, because as Jackie mentioned, my calendar is a bit of a war zone. So, yeah.
Yeah. And we'll do some more scalable sessions where where you can do the one-on-one session, but we'll do some scalable ones which are run regularly. So particular topics like lead generation, that's going to be live on our website next week, all of our sessions that we're going to be running. So they'll be up on the website, and I'll send a communication out to everyone and a link to that page. So everyone can book in to, we'll do sessions on lead generation. We'll do on all the topics that you've mentioned here. Fees, obviously.
Fees. Let's do fees.
Yes.
Yes, fine, Catherine, you can do fees. Yeah, I know. I've got a one-track mind. It's all about the fees. I think that's all the questions. Were there any others that have popped up?
Oh, we couldn't hear me.
I can hear you.
Oh, that's strange.
Oh, I wonder which part they couldn't hear. Can you hear Jackie now?
Yeah, can you? Yeah, that's really strange.
Yeah. No and
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, okay, great. Everyone can
Okay.
hear. Must have been
Okay. Thanks for confirming, guys. That would have been funny.
Excellent. Right. Okay, well, we'll wrap up and wish everyone a wonderful weekend. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend, and yeah, we'll look forward to connecting next week, and I'll send everything out off the feedback and keep everyone in the loop.
Yep. Look forward to the one-on-ones, guys. See you later.
Take care, everyone. Bye.